then that's usually how you blow up your account. Do not average down on a losing trade. Add on the direction of your profit, not the direction of your stop loss.
Hello everybody, this is Anthony for Investors Underground. In this episode, I have the pleasure to speak with an amazing member within the trading community. He's a trader, author, entrepreneur, mentor, and creator of Bear Bull Traders. He's reached extraordinary heights in both trading and beyond, having even climbed the summit of Mount Everest. It's my pleasure to welcome Andrew Aziz. Hello Andrew, thank you for being here and taking the time to speak with me today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Andrew, there's a lot that I wanted to talk to you about. One of the things I wanted to start out with was how you went from studying chemical engineering to finding so much success as a trader. Can you talk a little bit about that background and how you found trading?
After I finished my PhD, I started working as a research scientist. And I got laid off from my job, and it was very difficult, and it still is, to find an engineering job in Vancouver as a chemical engineer. So I was unemployed for 5 months, and I started in that time back in 2012-13. It was just the start of retail trading, and I started, messing around with the stock market a little bit, and I got really hooked into. I was really amazed into the way that you can make money online from home, and I really wanted the lifestyle. So that's how I slowly started trading. I couldn't really make money at the beginning, so I had to take another job to pay the bills for a couple of more years. But that's just I got hooked up on the fact that you can actually sit down behind your computer, and with this fluctuation you can make money. And I think as an engineer, I was trained to think very analytically, like recognizing patterns and executing patterns in a very specific manner. Really resonated with my engineering mindset and engineering background. And so I started 2013-14 trading and a very small size with all the beginners mistakes I did, and eventually back in 2018 that I completely transitioned full time. And I love it. I love the lifestyle, and it's not easy, but I think it's very rewarding.
And what were some of the early lessons that you learned and some of the breakthroughs that you went through to go from being just a novice trader to finding consistency and profitability?
I think success in trading comes from three things. Technology, having the right technology; strategy, having a couple of really good strategy that is tested; and of course the psychology, the proper mindset for trading. These three are the pillar of success for trading, and you need all three of them to become successful. Remove one of them is like a stool system collapses. I started with the most basic mistake, like not having the right technology for day trading. My type of trading was, scalping and trading. You need a direct access broker. You need a good platform. You need a low commission broker. I just started trading with Bank of Montreal in an online browser-based platform, and you have to enter your phone number, and confirm to enter every single order that you want to do. Commissions was $10 per ticket. Like in and out was $20 for small share size. So all of those big mistakes I did, not having a proper technology. After that, so I realized, interactive brokers exist. So that broker exists. And then, switch to a better platform that is designed for active trading. And then I realized that I don't have any strategy. Like, what am I doing? Why am I just buying? Why am I following this guy in the chat room? Or why am I, following this guy Twitter and just do whatever he says? And then I realized, okay, I have to work on the strategy. Then after, I found the strategy, of course, you get into the final aspect of it, the right mindset, not getting, FOMO, and, trade management and all of those things that comes with the psychology. So I went through the evolution from the pain of the, beginner's mistake all the way to today. I'm struggling with the proper mindset, and I don't have any problem with the strategy or technology, but the mindset is something that you continuously have to work on that.
For you, what were some of the most influential resources that really helped you with a solid foundation in trading?
I think in that time there was a lot of good YouTube videos. The quality of the videos were lower. but there was still a lot of YouTube videos. Like Investor Underground, I watched some of the videos that you guys had back in like 10, 12, 13, 15 years ago. There was other communities that there were other communities that they had good YouTube videos, mostly from YouTube. And there was no really day trading book. I really didn't find any. And that was one of the reasons that I started writing that book when I was still a fairly beginner trader, because I just said, oh, there's nothing. How come there's nothing like that? And we should have something like that. And my first draft, which was very very small, few pages in there, was just, this is what I learned, and these are the mistakes that I did. And but now, I mean, 15 years after, you see that there's so many really good channels. The quality of the education has gone up. Research papers, and we publish research papers on day trading strategies, and it's just much easier to start.
One of the things that I wanted to ask you, Andrew, is about that period where you weren't working as an engineer anymore and you were learning how to trade. I think there's a lot of people out there who find themselves in similar situations. Either they're getting let off of work or they have a desire to leave their job and pursue trading. What advice would you give to those people?
I think that trading should be part-time, especially at the beginning. I'm a big advocate of part-time trading because you have a peace of mind when you're having your business and you're having your job, you're paying the bills. This is, at the beginning, there is definitely losses. Maybe in the first 6 months or 1 year, you can become break-even. So you need some sort of a cushion to learn trading. The time zone is very important. The nature of your job is very important. Like I work in the Pacific time zone, and the market starts at 6:30, opens at 6:30. So, I was done by 8 o'clock in the morning, and I could get to my job at 9 a.m., 10 a.m. So I had the opportunity. But if I was working on the Eastern time zone, I probably wouldn't have the luxury of, part-time trading and at the same time having a job. My recommendation is to keep it part-time. Again, no matter how much money you have or, how is your business, just keep it, because it will be tough at the beginning. It's always hard, but especially at the beginning, you need to have that mindset, the peace of mind in your mind that you can, tolerate some losses. That's the most important thing.
Okay. And how has your trading style evolved from those early days to where you are now? Were you always trading options and other things, or did you start exclusively with stocks? What has the evolution of your trading style been like? And how would you define your trading style now in the year 2024?
It's funny because I was thinking about it. It hasn't changed that much. I started trading shares, like just common shares, which is the most basic and most simplest things. And my strategy is even still the same. I'm mostly a opening range breakout trader, and it's still the same. Like my entries and exits have improved a little bit, but I'm still using the same indicators. I'm still using the same time frames, and it has been working for me. I added one or two counter trend strategy and they're like reversals, and we've developed that over the years, but I still feel that in nature I'm still the same trader, and I do trade options sometimes, but not very frequently. Why? It's just because I'm so comfortable with what I'm doing right now. And I know that trading shares directly, especially when your account's getting bigger and bigger, is not really that much capital efficient. But I haven't really changed my trading style that much. And they say if it's not broken, don't change it. There is something like that. They say that, yeah. And I really don't have that much motivation to constantly jump around and change and play around with other things.
And how did you develop your trading style? How did you discover what works best for you and your personality type? Was it a certain amount of just experience, or were you doing any sort of like trade reviews, documentation on what you traded and break down the analytics? What did that entire process look like for you to help you find out what works?
Mostly by experience. So the time zone, the time frame that you're trading is very important. Like I know that at the beginning when I was starting trading, and I have to finish by 8 o'clock in the morning of my time, which is about 11 o'clock in the Eastern time. So when the market, when that's the time frame that you have to just trade something that you can do in the beginning of the market open, that volatility, and usually scalping works in that time. I don't have time to sit down all the way to the afternoon and get these short squeezes or reversals because I had to go to job. So part of it was the limitation that I had for my lifestyle, and part of it is just I'm a very impatient person. I have ADHD. My mom was always telling me that why are you so impatient? And the active scalping, it fits my personality. Just I want to get things done. I have to work really fast. I just don't have the patience of looking at it for 1 hour, or put the stop loss and walk away for 4 hours and see what happens. So personality wise, it fit me, and by luck, I started watching videos for the people that they were all scalpers, and I kind of got into the scalping. I did try a couple of other strategies, but again, mostly the time frame, and I want things to fast. My trades are usually seconds to minutes. I rarely sit down on a trade for 1 hour. It's very different. For example, in the Mr. Underground, sometimes I see you trade all day, one ticker. I just don't like that style, and I don't think I ever trade like that. So part of it is luck, and I think part of it is personality, and it comes with experience. You can read about these tests that they have in the psychology websites about your personality and stuff, but at the end of the day, it comes with some experience.
I think that's a great point about understanding what works for you and how your brain functions. If you have a certain amount of attention and you find that's what works for you, then it makes sense to embrace that, which it sounds like you're doing. One of the things you mentioned, Andrew, was about timeframes. And I know that you have talked before about trading, maybe with the 1 minute chart up versus the 5 minute. Can you talk a little bit about why you do that and what you're looking for on each of those different timeframes?
Yeah, that's a good point. I always look at the 5 minutes as the overall bigger picture to find the direction. And so it's 5 minutes for me is a very strategic time frame. And then I use 1 minute to pinpoint the entries and exits. And it's a very tactical time frame for me. So overall, I look, for example, if this stock is making higher high and higher low on a 5 minute, I see some bullish pattern to the upside. And now I look at the 1 minute to see if I can get a really nice pullback toward the moving average to enter better and put my stop loss better. So 5 minutes is a strategic time frame. 1 minute is a tactical time frame for me. And the reason that I'm using, guys, these are standards, and some people use 2 minute. I have one strategy that uses 2 minute time frame, but I don't believe in using time frames that is not very standard or common. Like 30 seconds, I think it's way too noisy. And 15 minutes is good, but I never really used 15 minutes. Again, it goes back into the mindset of scalping versus being patient for looking at more higher time frames.
Are there any particular technical indicators that you use on your charts to help you decide whether you're going to enter a position or where to exit or stop out?
Volume weighted average price. I think that's the most important indicator for day trading. And that's one of the indicators that when I was trading with Bank of Montreal and other brokers, and there was another broker called Quest Trade that I was trading, and they didn't have VWAP in that time. And Interactive Brokers had, and DAS platform had. And then when I switched it, and I read about VWAP a little bit on the internet, and then I came on it. So wow, so that's how it bounces back. There is an indicator down there. So volume weighted average price is an indicator for intraday trading. And I think it's very important to have it, because when the price is above VWAP, it means that there is more bullish sentiment, and when it's trading below the VWAP, there is bearish sentiment, and you have to adjust your patterns and strategy based on where is it trading around the VWAP. So it's very important. I think if I want to have only one indicator, that would be volume weighted average price. We did actually recently, last year, we published a paper on how stocks trade around the VWAP, and how you can actually beat the market just by simple be long above the VWAP and go short below the VWAP on just QQQ and the NASDAQ, and see, surprisingly, it's a research paper. We didn't really trade that. It's about all back test on QQQ, and it's unbelievable that you see it's just a holy grail for day trading systems. And if you Google my name, Andrew Aziz VWAP paper, you probably can get it on Google, and just read it about. It's really amazing. We actually published that as a academic research. So yeah, that's one of the most important indicators.
Okay. Great. Yeah, that'd be great for traders to have access to and to take a look at. One of the questions I had was, is there a particular trade or set of trades that you think best exemplifies your trading style?
Yeah, I think 5 minute opening range breakouts are my bread and butter. I pretty much trade them every single day. We have, again, research papers on them that, as what we found is that 5 minute opening range breakup can beat the market in the long term. And if the higher the relative volume of the stock is, the better the performance. And we tested 5 minute, 15 minute, 10 minute, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 1 minute, and everything. And we found that 5 minute opening range breakout is having the superiority over the other opening range breakouts. And it's very simple. You wait for 5 minutes, you see the balance of the power between buyers and sellers in the first volatility. And if it goes above the candlestick, the first 5 minutes, it means that there's still more buyers, you go long. And then if it goes below the first 5 minutes, it means that there's more sellers, and then you go short. It's very simple a strategy. So it's kind of a trend trading. So you actually capitalize on the momentum of the trade to the downside or to the upside. They call them trend trading. The counter trading is when you actually take a reversal. So this one is considered as a trend trading or scalping. So you take the move, and like I pretty much trade that every single day. Like 5 minute is my main chart, and I look at the 1 minute and see if I can get a better entry near the moving averages, set my stop loss. So, you can show, for example, in February 14, Valentine's Day this year, Lyft had the earning the night before. It was a really big volatility. And the next day, it was gapping up like about 20-25%. At the open, we waited for the 5 minutes, opened from $15 to $15.40, and then did a pullback. And then as soon as it came back up to do the opening range breakout, you can show the screenshot or the link to my video. It is my YouTube channel. So we take the trade to the long side, put the stop loss below the VWAP, and then we capitalize on the move toward the next levels they had, like 1550, 16, and all the way to 1650. So it's a huge move, like 10-15% move in just a matter of 5 minutes. So that's what you want. You want to capture some of that.
How do you decide what trades you're going to get into? Are there particular either catalysts or macro news that you look for to sort of, get a particular stock or a trade idea on your radar? What are you looking for in a given day or trade idea to get you interested?
The research that we published recently was talking about the relative volume. So the higher the relative volume of the stock, historically, we went through the 7,000 publicly traded stocks in the last 6 years, and we tested the opening range breakout on all of them. And what we realized that is, if the relative volume is above 100%, it means that you're more than normal activity on the average of the last 14 days. You have a chance of having an edge into the market. So for me, I'm looking for volatility. And and volume, the relative volume, which these two usually comes together. When there's a lot of volume coming in, the volatility comes in as well. So how does the volume have the higher value? Is usually come with some sort of a fundamental news. Like Apple, if there's no news on it, it's just being traded with high volume, but it's not crazy volume, compared to itself. But if there is a news about Apple and the volume comes in, usually brings volatility, and that's where you actually want to trade. So when I'm looking at a chart, I'm looking at the stocks every single day that see if there is any fundamental news about them. Is like if Lyft had the earning, and earning, if it surprises, this is usually really good fundamental catalyst. If Lyft doesn't have any fundamental catalyst, if there's no earning, there's nothing happening about the company, it still trades, but you probably have, based on our research, you don't have much of an edge trading it because just algos are trading it all the time. And usually you don't have enough volatility to actually capitalize on that. You just pay commissions and fees and waste your time. For me, trading every single day, I come, okay, what is trading? What's hot? What happened? What is the news? Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't get it. Sometimes you are in a sector mania. Like in pandemic, like the pandemic announced in March 16 as a pandemic, but it was volatility for a couple of weeks. And then after that, the reopening came, all the vaccines and airlines and cruise lines, they were like, you had the volatility on a sector for a period of time. Right now, we are in AI mania. Anything related to the AI NVIDIA, the semiconductors, they're active. So you don't necessarily need a single news per day to trade NVIDIA, but you know that you are in some sort of a mania for, usually they last for a couple of months and you can trade them every single day. Crypto, for example, it was really hot in 2018 and it got really, really hot in 2021 again. You don't need any news about crypto to trade them. Just you can trade all these blockchain companies, anything that is correlated to the crypto. And then they were gone for a couple of years and then again they come back again and you can trade them. So essentially we're looking for something that has news or has a sector volatility and look at it. And how you can find it, usually if being around other traders, being around in the communities, you can get a good feeling of who's trading what. But if you're by yourself, you wake up and it's a little bit harder to actually see where is everybody and who is trading what. So that's why being around other traders is very important.
Okay, great. I think that's really helpful. One of the questions that I wanted to touch on was, again, related to your book. In your book, How to Day Trade for a Living, you mentioned for traders who are just starting the importance of getting a good trading education, but also maybe starting out with some sort of simulated account, maybe paper trading. Could you talk a little bit about why you believe that and how that can help traders in the long run?
Yeah, so again, going back to the technology, strategy, and psychology, to learn the technology and strategy, you better trade on a simulator. Because the platform that you're using, they're not really that simple. Like I know some people trade on Robinhood app and it's very gamified, but real trading platforms, you need a little bit of a training on that, hotkeys, indicators, executions, the type of orders. So there is a little bit, they're not that complicated, but you need a little bit of practice on that. And then the strategy that you want. Okay, so Andrew trades opening range breakout. I want to trade like him. So you can't just copy me. You have to go and test it by yourself and go back test it and, trade some of the other stocks so you actually learn how to do it. So for these two elements, you should do at least a couple of months of simulation. We say 3 months is really good. But you can become an amazing trader on a simulator, but it's not enough because you don't have that psychological element of trading. You don't have any sweat on it when you start trading. The fear of losing or fear of missing out is real, and that's why you have to switch that to a real account. So you actually get that psychological elements of trading in there. So what we recommend is trade for a couple of months on a simulator, practice some strategy, see the entries and exit and trade management, because trade management is also really important. And then when you think that, okay, I know what I'm doing, open a live account and then trade live, but very small share size, because the psychology now just show itself. It's like somebody's watching a lot of YouTube videos about how to become a really good swimmer, but you got to do it. And then when you do it, you don't start in the Olympic. You go, start very, with a, local pool, and then you try slowly get yourself into the environment. And then, that's what we recommend. And that's what it's in the book. If you really want to become a trader for life, you have to start from a simulator and become consistent on a simulator and then switch to a live account. And if you can't even become a consistent on a simulator, there's no way that you can really become a trader in a live account. So that's my recommendation.
Okay, great. And similar to the, swimming metaphor, if you're going to start very small, maybe at a pool or something like that, if you're learning swimming, what's the goal for the beginning trader?
First of all, if you want to become a trader for life, trading for a living depends on your lifestyle and also how much money you have. If you have $5,000 or $10,000, you won't be able to make enough money out of trading to actually live as a trader. When we get into the couple of $100,000 is more possible because if it's a really, really good trader, if you're a really, really good consistent trader, 0.5% to 1% a day could be reasonable. And we're talking about really good experienced traders. So let's say, for example, 0.5% in your account a day, like we have about 200 trading days a year. So you're talking about 100% return. And if you have $100,000 account and you're a good trader, you can make another $100,000 by day trading. And if your lifestyle is $100,000, then you can, make a living out of that. But if you have only $10,000, $15,000 or $50,000 account, 0.5% a day, double your accounts per year, is it enough for you? Probably not. I mean, depending on where you live. I have some full-time traders, but they live in Colombia. And in Colombia, they have a really good life with $2,000 a month. And I don't think they have big accounts. So it really depends on where you are and how much money you need. So I had some traders that they were traveling in Asia, and again, Asia is very low cost. They have a smaller accounts. So you have to consider that. But I think if anyone promise you anything more than 1% a day, I think you have to be very, very skeptical about that. It's not possible with common shares. Maybe with options, maybe with some other tools it's possible, but I don't think anyone can day trade U.S. stock market with shares and get more than 1% a day.
And what makes you decide whether you're going to want to execute a trade using a particular instrument, whether that's equities or the option?
The volume, as I mentioned, I'm looking for volume. And then if you want to see exactly my entry, I'm looking at the time and sales, because time and sales is the manifestation of the volume. So for my entry, I'm looking at the volume. Obviously, I look at the chart pattern, but so there is a lot of chart patterns that I recognize, but I don't trade them. The reason for that is I look at the time and sales, and I want that order flow gives me the signal to entry. And usually for the breakout, the time and sales starts really going nuts, which represents the higher volume activity. And that's where I actually take the trade for my strategy. We actually have also a course on order flow reading and how the time and sales and order flow, I think, which is one of the most important indicators. Level 2 is also important. So we look at the level 2 for some signals, but we don't make only the decision based on the level 2. So we put all these elements together at the same time to make the decision. So the chart pattern has to be there, the volume has to be there, the 5 minute and 1 minute should give you the signal, and then the order flow at the time and sales is one of the really things that I use. So if you ask me where is my eye during the day when I'm looking at it, trying to take the trade, my eye exactly is focused on the time and sales, the last sales price. Because if I want to take a breakout, usually I see more activity over there.
Whether you're hoping to improve your technical analysis skills and chart reading, or learn how to read the tape, or simply connect with other traders and learn from them, Investors Underground might have something to offer. You'll have access to courses and mentors to learn from, some of the best technology available for scanning stocks and breaking news, and access to the chat rooms, where you'll find a vibrant community of focused traders who share their trade ideas every day in real time. You'll also have access to the morning broadcast, where Nate and the IU moderators share their trade ideas for the day ahead during the pre-market session. You'll have access to the midday sessions with Stan, the midweek study session with Sam, webinars, moderator watch lists, and all the other resources that Investors Underground has to offer. Listeners of the podcast can access special deals at investorsunderground.com/YouTube. And now let's return to our interview with Andrew Aziz, where we'll discuss trading psychology. He wrote a book on the topic, and it's one of the subjects that I really anticipated speaking with him about. Can you talk about your overall perspective on psychology and the role that it plays for traders?
I mean, psychology is one of those things that everybody talks about it, and everybody really thinks that it's super complicated, but it's really not that complicated. There are some basic elements of psychology that you have to learn about it, and the rest you have to work on it by yourself, and you see what's the problem that you have. The book that I have is I asked the community. It's actually a collective book, and I said, well, let's all together share our stories and see what are the common mistakes that we have. So the people actually submitted their stories, and that the things that they were struggling with during the trading, and I put them everything together, and make it chapter by chapter based on the stories that I got, edit it and publish it. So if you read my Mastering Trading Psychology, is what essentially you're reading a bunch of stories of people like you who've done this before and sharing your experience, which I think is very important because you want to become like them. So you want to learn from their mistakes and their misery and their struggles. If you want to touch on some of it, is first of all the expectations. You have to have the right expectations. If you come with the wrong expectations, you take this, so I want to make $5,000 a day. So you start taking risks that you're not ready for it, or you don't have enough account for it. to make that amount of money. So these are, recipe for disaster. So goes into the psychology because you just didn't come to trading with the right mindset. And what else? Like, for example, trading in nature is something that is uncertain. No matter how good you are, no matter what's the best trading education that you had, no matter what the best strategy that you have, sometimes it doesn't work, and it's not your fault. You have to say, oh, okay, it didn't work, oops. Just because the nature of the market is uncertain. I had one trader who submitted his life story to me, and it is in the book, and he said that I'm a air traffic controller, and my whole life I've been an air traffic controller. And in an air traffic controller, you don't have room for error. If you make an error, there is an accident is happening. And I'm coming with that mindset in trading, and I just cannot accept a loss. And I just go nuts and I go crazy. And so the problem that this guy has is that he's mentally trained to be perfect. But in trading, you cannot be perfect. No matter how much work you do, it's just the nature of the business is uncertain. It's no one's fault. If you find a really good trade and make a perfect execution and you get stopped out, you shouldn't blame yourself. It is what it is. You're dealing with something that has probability involved in that. So reading about psychology is really important, especially if reading about other people's stories and to how to deal with a lot of psychological aspects on it. There's so many, but you don't need to read really the academic books or the books that are really go into the deep human psyche. You have to, I think, more and more read about the other people's stories, and at the end of the day you have to go through that. And that's why we say in the first year, if you come out break even, you're lucky, because you have to go through that process. I can talk about how disciplined you should be and eat healthy. But at the end of the day, you have to go to the restaurant and see that unhealthy, food in front of you and drink in front of you. And it's you that you have to say, okay, no, I'm not going to take that food and that drink, and I want to stay healthy. So you have to practice it yourself.
That's a great point. And what were some of the struggles, in terms of trading psychology that you had to overcome throughout your trading career, or maybe even now that you're still working on? And how do you go about making change in a way that's effective in your experience?
My biggest challenge is overtrading. And overtrading means that I have usually a daily goal for my day, and say, okay, I'm going to make that trade and make this amount of money, and it's done. And it happens a lot. But what happens is I just keep trading. And I give all the profit back, especially as the day goes, the volatility comes down, it becomes more choppy. So what happens is I'm walking away from a station. And, we trade in the chat room, we share it live. I just walk away from it. And it would be funny, but actually, this is a joke that we have, that put a handcuff on. If you want to watch and, if you want to still be in the market, put the handcuff on and don't trade. And I literally had a handcuff on my desk. I don't have it here, it's over there, but I actually just handcuff myself in front of everybody and say, okay, I'm not going to trade, and just walk away. I usually trade half an hour, 45 minutes. After that, I walk away. Because if you look at it, you're going to make that trade. So that's my struggle, over trading when I don't need that. So try to physically stop yourself. Ask your broker, the brokers and platforms have that, to limit your max loss or limit your trading hours. They do that. Like if you contact Dash Trader Pro, they put a max loss. After that, the platform doesn't work anymore. If you get $500, you're done. You can't loss, and then you can't trade anymore. Do this physical enforcement on yourself, or have a trading buddy and say, hey buddy, if I had this amount of loss, you just do not let me to trade, or something like that, to actually stop yourself. For me, it's over trading, because I see opportunities all the time and I want to jump in there. Plus, I'm trading live in front of the community, and I have this feeling, this obligation that I have to do it, because I'm saying, oh, this is a good trade. And then people might say, oh, if it's a good trade, why don't you take it? Because I'm done with my day. I don't want to be in every single trade. So that's just an example.
Okay, yeah, and thank you for sharing. I think overtrading is definitely one of the more common traits that traders tend to exhibit, and I think everybody can relate to that. I like your approach to being able to just walk away, or if you can, put yourself in some sort of physical handcuff or otherwise just keep your hands away from
Yeah,
trading.
or I had this, eye bands, and sometimes I was just okay. I'm not looking. I don't want to trade that. Temptation is real. Again, for me, it's over trading, and I still struggle with it every single day. And this is another point. And people asking me, when is the time that I'm becoming a full-time trader? When can I say I'm a consistent trader? Never. You can never say that I'm a consistent trader. When can you say, Anthony, that you are fit? You can never say that. You always have to watch your diet. You always have to, exercise. You always have to have proper sleep. It's a work in progress. You can be fit, and then, in 1 week you can be unfit. It's as simple as that one. You can be an amazing, consistent trader, and then in one single day, one single trade, you can blow up. In 2022, I was an amazing trader, but I gave all of my 2020 and 2021 profit in one single trade, $2 million loss in front of everybody. It's on YouTube. So I was an amazing trader until 22, and then I was a really bad trader in 2022. And I got lucky that I could recover from that loss, but a lot of people can't. And the $2 million was a lot of my net worth. Like, it was a really good portion of my net worth in one single trade. So trading is a lifetime journey of discipline, evolution, and, just that's why it's a business. It's not a passive income.
And Andrew, how did you recover from that type of loss? Do you take a couple days off? What do you do? How does one come back from, a 7-figure loss like that?
Well, I cried. I cried, and that night there was a lot of crying involved. And I had a good support. Like, my brother really, really supported me really well. And he said, don't worry about it. You're going to make it back. Think about what is left, not about a skill that you have, not about what you lost. So for me, you have to go through that, period of grief. I did take a few days off, and it was pretty good because a few months after that, it was the tax season. I got actually a portion of that loss back as a tax refund. It was about $500,000 tax refund back, which was nice. So it kind of boosted me a little bit. But I think for me, it was my brother. I think he was really supportive, and this peer support and community support was very helpful. But I was thinking of not trading anymore, and I was so close to stop trading.
But is that actually a legitimate thought that crossed your mind? Just never again.
Even today, it's like still sometimes I'm wondering, questioning myself, because self-confidence is really important, but self-awareness is more important. You got to constantly question yourself and your situation in life, not only in trading and everywhere. So sometimes, I had a couple of bad weeks of trading, and I started questioning: maybe it's over. Maybe day trading is not possible anymore. Like, when was it? I think it was I think it was in December or something. It was a Christmas time. In the Christmas time, every single day was a loss, and I was wondering, okay, is it over? Maybe the volatility is gone, the market is really flat, and it's just impossible to day trade. And I was thinking, okay, I got to be ready if you're every day single. And then again, it picked up again in January. So it's very important to constantly reflect on yourself, your skills, and the market condition too. So when I started trading back in 2016, 17, 18, a couple of $100 a day was normal, and it was amazing and awesome. And then it happened, the pandemic, like the volatility, like thousands of dollars a day was just, oh, okay, that's easy. And up to 2021, it was amazing. Like, everybody knew that was a bubble. And then in 2020, it started bursting, but we had a really good 1-year bear market, and still the volatility was there. And up to 2023, there was some points that I said, okay, market kind of stabilizes, is bouncing back. And then the AI mania started, that again, it gave us that volatility. So I'm constantly thinking that, how is it possible that I make so much money? And it wasn't as easy in 2019. And I see, okay, there are constant elements that comes into the market. Pandemic was one big volatility pocket. I made most of my money in 2020. And then the reopening was really amazing. And then the bear market, which was a very long bear market, it was like 8 months bear market. That was also amazing. And then it was slow sometimes. And then now we got this AI mania. I mean, maybe this AI mania is going to burst soon, and maybe something else pops up. We don't know, but you have to constantly look at the condition of the trading environment as well.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that and being so open and vulnerable with us about that. I think that's really helpful to hear from a trader with that much success. And sort of related to that, I wanted to talk a little bit about your trading community. And, what made you decide that you wanted to start Bear Bull Traders? And could you talk a little bit about what you've learned from the community? Because obviously, as a successful trader, they've learned a lot from you. But what have you learned from interacting with the community?
Well, I learn a lot from the trading community that we have. First of all, you know, like pivot points and Caramilla pivot points, I didn't know that this indicator existed. Some of our members started, using them and show us how to do it. And so, okay, you can do that. This is an indicator that is really nice. Like the new indicators and new technical knowledge came from the community. Psychologically also helps. Like when I'm having a bad day in the community, not as a moderator, but as a member, people are very supporting, people sharing experiences, sharing, the ways that you can actually overcome the bad days. It's really amazing. Trading in the community makes me also accountable. Like as a person who share my screen, they see my trading platform and they see me and they hear me, makes me accountable as well. But that's a privilege as a moderator because everybody's watching. You can't mess around. You can't do crazy things that you always say don't do it and you do it. So that's really important for me to make it accountable. The reason that we started Bear Bull Traders is because I started trading these penny stocks at the beginning, but I had really little success on them. And then I was looking desperately for a community that trades like high price stocks, and I couldn't find anything. And I decided to start it myself. That okay, I don't want to trade these penny stocks because I just keep losing money on them. And I want to trade Tesla, Apple, AMD, Nvidia, that kind of stuff. Which community has it? There was none. And then we started ourselves and we started working on that. It's a little progress that you have, but I think they're easier and more consistent to trade them. Like, for example, I know in Investor Underground, your trading style is a little bit different. You're trading these hard to borrow stocks. There's a lot of short selling over there. Every community has their own main characteristics. I know they're all, diverse, but, each community has their own characteristics and, personality. And I think I wanted something that is more toward the, trading the large caps and mid caps than low float stocks. That's why I started. And yeah, I mean, we have a lot of questions that I personally ask and I get quickly answer from that. Every trader should be part of a community, in my opinion. I think it's worth the investment. Sometimes one quick answer that you get is worth $1,000 worth of membership for 1 year or whatever. So I think it's very, very valuable for me, and I just use it every single day.
Are there certain characteristics that successful traders within the community tend to have, whereas struggling traders might not possess those types of characteristics?
What I found is the people who are really successful, first of all, they're part-time traders. That's what I see most of the time because we have these events all around the world and I see them. They're part-time traders. They're all passionate about trading. They're not doing it for the money, but they're just passionate about this financial market. And this is what I see about them. And it's very important because if you don't like these things, you're not going to, everybody wants to make money, of course, but you have to be passionate about it. Some people come and they trade a little bit and they say, I don't want to wake up and just going up and down, no matter how much money I can make. And they have a point, it's not for everybody. It's not enjoyable for everybody. Like I like to make money, but I never want to become a doctor or a surgeon. I just don't want to see this blood on my hand all the time and that kind of things. It's just I'm not passionate about that environment. So I think if you come to the trading and you see that you don't like it, it's totally okay if you don't do it. Like any other business or career, you have to be passionate. I think the people who are successful are part-time, passionate people about financial markets. They want to learn how it is. They want to just get involved just for the sake of interest.
Great. Thank you so much. And if it's okay with you, Andrew, I would love to go through a lightning round set of questions, kind of quick questions, kind of quick answers. Is that all right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Awesome. My first question is, what do you consider to be your greatest strength as a trader?
I think my greatest strength in my trader right now is to walk away from trading after a big loss or a big profit day. Walking away. Handcuff. Just putting handcuff myself.
If you could go back to the start of your trading career and give yourself one piece of advice, what do you think it would be? And do you think your younger self would listen to that advice?
Do not average down on a losing trade. If you have a certain set that you trade and it doesn't work, do not average down on idiot. I tell myself. My $2 million loss started as a single trade that just keep adding, and never came back up. Then that's usually how you blow up your account. Do not average down on a losing trade. Add on the direction of your profit, not the direction of your stop loss.
Are there any areas of your trading currently this year that you're working to improve on?
Day trading options more. I need to switch to day trading options because they're super capital efficient, and I have the strategy and the stocks, and I just have to learn more on execution of the options. Options trading is something that I need to work this year.
Considering all that you've done, from trading to climbing Mount Everest, what has been the most satisfying, and what other goals do you have still to accomplish?
I have a lot of climbing goals, but in trading goals, I don't have that much anymore. But the climbing, the big mountains like Everest or high altitude mountains, is the conquer of mind, is not the body. Because when I was climbing Everest, my mind was saying that quit, you're gonna die, quit, you can't do it, quit. My body could handle it. Like I could, see people, weaker than me are going up. So it's the conquer of the mind, and trading is also the conquer of the mind. You have the right strategy. Everybody knows the good strategies. The research are out there. The tools are out there. It's the conquer of mind.
What advice would you give to traders who are struggling in 2024?
Don't be shy to ask for help. Don't be shy to reach out to better traders and ask for advice. Invest in some mentorship. Sometimes 1 hour talk with a senior trader can help. And also don't be shy to quit. That's also okay. If you're struggling and you think you can't do it, that's totally okay to take some time off. The definition of madness is just doing something over and over and over, and you expect a different result. And trading is not for everyone, and that's okay if you quit.
On the flip side, what advice would you give to traders who are doing exceptionally well this year in order to help them stay on the right path in trading and keep their money or grow it?
Personal advice is give back to the community, help the trading community. Like I know you guys have Traders for a Cause. I think it's amazing. Try to, not financially, but also try to volunteer your time with helping other traders as a community, because it's kind of funny. If you help the community grow, we all make more money and become better. Don't ask me how it works. The universe doesn't work that way. Like if everybody is becoming better, if the market becomes more volatile, everybody is benefit from that. It's not that you are in the direct competition with each other, yes, but if you help each other, at least based on my experience, you become a better trader and you grow as well. If for advice for my other traders, just try to diversify your knowledge, but stick to what you know and what you're good at. But that doesn't mean that you stop learning and getting better.
And Andrew, for those listening who would like to learn more about you, how you trade, or maybe even contact you, how can they do so?
So if you just Google Andrew Aziz, you can find me on all social media, except TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. And my email is andrew@bearbultraders.com. But, social media is the best way. Just send me a DM. I have a YouTube channel as well, Bear Bull Traders or Andrew Aziz. You should be easy to find by Google search. And I love to hear about what you think about this podcast. And I come and read the comments, actually. You posted on YouTube. I think you're YouTube, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to read the comments and try to answer the comments or questions from my own account on YouTube, so you can find me there. And if you do post it on X, I'm going to also respond and make sure that to stay in touch as much as we can. Yeah, thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Awesome. And Andrew, thank you so much for coming and recording an episode. It's been an honor to talk with you. And yeah, I'll see you online and hopefully in person at Traders for a Cause or another event.
Yeah, thank you. Looking forward to see you.
We hope you enjoyed this interview on the Investors Underground podcast. We have more great interviews that we believe you might also like. So don't forget to subscribe. You'll be notified of upcoming releases the moment they become available. Thanks for watching.